Mr. Chairman. I'd like to ask first unanimous consent to enter into the record the May 12th article titled Federal Tax Cuts Leave States in a Bind, with your permission.
Without objection.
Thank you. This article illustrates the very real problem of states being squeezed by the federal tax overhaul we are here to discuss today. And just a quick yes or no, Mr. Farr, in Missouri, do you know the impact of these tax cuts that were voted upon last December on the state of Missouri?
I believe it will be a slight negative without economic growth.
Thank you, Mr. Farr. Since most states use federal definitions of income, the tax law broadened the definition of income. For instance, a married couple with 3 children earning $70,000 a year may have been taxed on about $36,000 of that income, but under the new tax law, they could be taxed at $46,000 a year because the tax law eliminated the personal exemption and made other changes. In fact, residents of the majority of states are slated to experience an unlegislated tax increase. It's almost as though the members who voted for this tax scam didn't consider its impact on states or just chose to look the other way. And I might add, now that I think of it, Mr. Chairman, you made a claim, Mr. Chairman, that in the first quarter of this year, there were more new business formations than companies going out of business, reversing trends. Now, you got that information from the NFIB, who got it from the BLS. But BLS data shows more business openings than closings in every quarter since January of 2010, and no data. So, post the tax bill enactment, you are really grasping at straws if you are fabricating data, and you are. Since 2010 January, been an increase in what you said is so unique, which is not. I'm not surprised. My colleagues on the other side, many of them, took aim at states from the beginning. It's very convenient to cut taxes in Congress and then shift the burden to the states and the cities. This committee did so when it voted to completely eliminate the state and local tax deduction along party lines. This vote amounted to a money grab on the citizens of my state, New Jersey. Our taxes are going up, and cities and towns have to get by with less in order to pay for a giant and unnecessary corporate tax cut. And I must say, Mr. Aiken, you have always been consistent. You appeared in May of last year and said, these are not paid for. You don't think they're going to be paid for, these tax cuts. You were right then. You were right now. You were right before May. At least you're consistent. So we may not agree on some things, but I have the greatest respect for you because you keep to the data and you don't fabricate. You're not a bumper sticker guy. So this hits at a time when state budgets are already constrained. You know that. They're constrained by rising health care and pension costs. States aren't allowed to run deficits like we do. And this problem will worsen if the federal government cuts back funding for programs, further squeezing states, and inevitability after this very tax bill exploded our deficit. And I'm glad that you and Mr. Ratner agree that the major objective when we have a reform, this is not tax reform, these were tax cuts, is economic growth. That's what it's all about. To sustain it, that's what it's all about. So higher taxes for folks in my state, higher deficits that put pressure on already underfunded health care and retirement programs, what's the benefit? Why did we pass this godforsaken bill in the first place? Rushed through in a matter of days with no debate.
Gentleman's time has expired.